All right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, November 24th, 6:30 p.m. This is the Committee of the Whole meeting. I'd like to welcome back home State Representative Carol Glanville, and we'll ask her to come on up to the podium. I believe that mic was live a couple minutes ago. Assuming somebody didn't turn it off, you'll be good to go.
Live. Yes, it's live.
There you go, and you have the clicker right there, so we'll turn the floor over to you.
All righty, thank you. Well, and thank you for having me. It's always a joy to be here, although I see my two favorite commissioners are not here tonight. So.
Whoa. I mean, technically, come on now. Second ward here, come on.
Well, that's true. All right, let me get caught up here on I probably should have been hooking myself up to the Wi-Fi while I was sitting there. Oh, we're on it. Okay. I guess I've been here before. Hang on, let me just get this pulled up. Okay, there we go. One more. All right. So once again, thank you for having me this evening. Really appreciate the time. And, it's a little later than we normally give our budget update, but here we are. I wanted to cover the things that I felt would be most relevant to you all as a city commission. So if I've left anything out or you have any questions, there's a little bit of time here at the end. So we're going to go through these items: revenue sharing, public safety, roads and transit, health and hospitals, housing, local economy and job growth, affordability, and the school aid budget. And let me see. Starting with revenue sharing, which I'm sure you're mostly familiar with. And of course, it explains in here a little bit for folks in the audience what that means. So the budget does have $1.6 billion of revenue sharing that's spread out across municipalities. They're doing it a little bit differently this year or this time around, so that there's budgeting. The revenue sharing, in theory, is supposed to support cities at varying levels as needed. And so I believe there are some changes to what Walker will be receiving, some ups in, I think, road funding and some downs in just the general revenue sharing. But we do have the public safety grants, the new local road funding, and the traditional revenue sharing are all wrapped in here. So I can pause here if you want to talk about revenue sharing quick. Anybody have questions?
Commissioners, anything on the revenue sharing piece or even our city manager?
No, I know our, Dan, I think ours is going down, 20,000 or so for constitutional revenue sharing, and I think the other is pretty stable, but as Representative said, some of our road funding in the next 2 years will be greatly increased, so kind of balances, like I said.
Yeah, it's just, I know it's tough because, those are buckets, specific buckets of money. So bearing that in mind going forward, certainly want to be in the loop on any concerns that you might have or, stumbling blocks with that $20,000 cut in the constitutional piece. What we can do, if there's anything available. And also in my office, of course, we can help tie you into all the programming as well, the applications for different things, as you know. So. All right, going on to public safety funding. This is $95 million for public safety, and it's broken down. So there are, again, a bucket of grants for municipalities. There's a CVI, which is Community Violence Intervention grant funding that goes out to community violence intervention programming. Some of that might be mental health programming. Some of that is... There's a number of programs, I can think of a couple based specifically in Grand Rapids that do violence intervention programming with youth on the streets. It could be included in something like an after-school program, things like that. Any program that's being operated to help lower the temperature in any area for community violence. There's $8 million to new firefighter gear, $10 million to MCOLs, which of course is the police, $17 million to county prosecutors, and $25 million for public safety constituency grants. And those grants, let me see. Oh, hang on, let me find my note. So those grants, again, will be open for application, and if there's anything I can do to help you all in, getting any of that money into the city, be happy to do so. The public safety constituency grants are specific for firefighters and county prosecutors, on top of the additional funding here.
So that's on top of
Yep.
the 17 and the 8 up above, so 25 million. Was there anything from a like a reference point, talked about what all that would encompass, or is it meant just to be broad so things could fit underneath it?
Yeah, I'm not clear on the details, and that's the other piece with this year's budget. We didn't get the amount of detail. There's still a lot of questions floating around some of the boilerplate. So happy to dig into that a little bit further. I don't know if that would be with you, Daryl, or Jack, or who's your new assistant? Do you have a new assistant? No. Oh, okay. Wow, Daryl. Happy to set up a meeting where we can kind of look through some of that stuff a little bit more in detail. And then also if there's something we need to bring up in a potential supplemental, what that language might look like.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So roads and transit, I think, a lot of people are happy about the roads plan. I'm glad that we're going to get some money funneling into our local roads. I know Walker has done a ton. We've always been very responsive to our local roads needs, and so this will only serve to improve that. I'm sad, however, I don't think this includes the M roads, so, which is our favorite road to hate here in Walker. So we'll see. But this is just the beginning of what we're going to be doing with road funding in the next few years, and Elena may have a little bit more to say about that as well. So I don't know if you have any questions here. I'm glad that we were able to get through that first, just kind of crack the glass in that ceiling so that we can get back to taking our roads and transit and infrastructure a little bit more seriously. And again, some of that funding is also under litigation at the moment, particularly the marijuana tax is in court at the moment, so we'll see how that all kind of lands as well as that works its way through the system. But that said, $1 billion, so excited for the increases in funding and what that will bring, like I said, to us locally. Local economy and jobs growth, that seems to be the place that everybody wants to spend their time here, particularly at the end of the year. So we have about $60 million to support business attraction community revitalization programs. In manufacturing, we have $440 million for workforce development, $32 million for going pro, and in Grand Rapids in particular, in our metro area, $17 million for tourism ongoing, and $13.4 for arts and local cultural institutions. $2 million of that is going to the Grand Rapids Art Museum, which is in grave need of upgrades. You might recall when it was built a few years ago, it was the first LEED certified building. And unfortunately, at that time, they did not make plans for maintaining a LEED certified building. So the costs have added up over the time, and you can't just replace, and it's not a standard HVAC, it's not a standard lighting. All the things at that building are a little bit pricier. So I was pleased that we were able to help them with that funding so they don't have to dip into their general fund and can continue to be a centerpiece for the city and the area. Health and hospitals. So as we move on to health and hospitals, there's a lot going on here. I expect there will be more going on in the next month as we come up against the ACA deadline on December 15th. I know a lot of folks are concerned about their access to health care and what that's going to look like, and we're keeping an eye on that in the state to see how we might be able to fill in any gaps if we can. However, that said, we had the breakdown of the Medicaid funding of $29 billion. You can see here 14.5 for physical health managed care, 5.5 for mental and behavioral health, and then 4.5 continued Medicaid funding for the programs for seniors and folks with disabilities that aging in place, keeping people in their homes to the extent that we can. We know that lowers costs, it increases, it lowers costs. It also impacts that negative factor of loneliness and socialization and things like that, if we can keep people functioning in their homes. And then for housing, we have, as you know, housing is a top issue, as it is everywhere here in Walker, across the state. And so $500,000 in direct funding to Habitat for Humanity to expand affordable housing construction statewide. I mean, Habitat for Humanity is a really fantastic program. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but it's that sweat equity, the fact that, the homeowners are there on job, doing the work, putting in their time, and then helping other families in the future to help offset some of the cost savings that they get. So it's really pride of ownership and things like that. So, and then teaching people how to hold a mortgage and make the payments and do all the things. So it's really it's just a complete community support program that really does a lot for home ownership, getting people on that path. $5 million to expand the permanent supportive housing services statewide, and this will specifically be assisting residents facing chronic homelessness. And then also, so it's not just getting in a house, but getting the wraparound services you need to maintain that again and continue to be in your home. And then $14 million directed to unused blight elimination funds. That $14 million is being redirected to the land banks for community redevelopment. I know there's some bills out there looking at how we're going to expand access to that kind of incentive as well. So let me see what else. We also are requiring new reports from MISHDA on the progress toward affordable housing and production goals. We're looking to cut unnecessary restrictions and red tape on housing types and zoning. Unless it's required by federal law. I know that's something that we'll need to be in consistent communication with our locals on, since a lot of the zoning happens right here. So making sure that we're not stepping on toes and that everybody's benefiting from what's being done. And then working with veteran homelessness in particular, focus there, and making sure that we are providing for those who have provided for us. What else do we have here? Nursing home facilities. I don't know if this is in here. Oh, that's okay. So in the nursing home facilities, we've allocated $700,000 for increased oversight of state licensed homes for the aged and $428,000 to support nursing home complaint intake and investigations to continue cutting back on those things. So all critical investments that improve housing across the board. In Walker and across the state. Any questions on housing?
Commissioners, any questions there? We're rolling. Thank you.
All righty. And now, lowering costs and affordability. So, we've all seen the rising costs. We all hear about it. We read about it every day. Groceries, prescriptions, housing, everything. And having an affordable place to live is absolutely critical to our municipalities for thriving cities and neighborhoods. So we continued, we kept in place our rollback on the retirement tax for seniors. So as that continues to roll out, more seniors will be seeing that come through for them. And we also continued our earned income tax credit match. And now that they're eliminating state taxes on tips and overtime pay and Social Security income, that will also funnel money directly back to people's pockets. Of course, it puts a little bit of a hit on the state budget, so we'll have to look at what that turns out to be. But hopefully it's a bit of a wash as people are, have more money to spend and pay down their debt and things like that, that we'll begin to see the payback on that. And then we also have other key investments to updating water infrastructure and home weatherization. So, that helps lower utility costs for folks, again, improves the value of your home, all of these things, quality of life. So $417 million for waterfront infrastructure initiatives to strengthen local systems, still working on lead line replacement, and $1.2 million to create a new program to help families within 250% of federal poverty line with critical home repairs and weatherization. So this ensures that they can continue to live in safe, energy-efficient homes, again, lowering their utility bills. And for some folks, the weatherization program that comes down from the feds and the state, you can't get your home weatherized if you don't have it at a certain repair level. And many homeowners can't make the repairs to get it's like this vicious cycle. So in helping folks to get those repairs done, they will be able to then take advantage of the weatherization. So, and finally, my favorite, the school aid budget. So we are expanding Great Start Readiness in our quest to provide universal pre-K, or continue to provide universal pre-K, and then move that down to three-year-olds as well as four-year-olds. The budget maintained and guaranteed transportation funding for our schools, particularly in our rural neighborhoods. That's or areas. That's a bigger issue as those buses have to drive hundreds of miles. So it's an increased cost to our schools. We continued our universal school meals, and we increased our funding for mental health to $321 million, mental health and school safety grants. Also putting an additional $10 million for the community violence intervention programs, 25% increased funding for at-risk students and ELL, English language learners, and $203 million in one-time compensation to help school employees offset rising healthcare costs and support teacher retention. And that's all. Obviously, there's a lot more in the budget than these things. Like I said, I tried to pull out what I thought would be most relevant for you all. Happy to answer questions, or if there's something you want to know more about, we can, come back or get back with you via email or whatever that looks like to close the gap.
Mr. City Manager, Commissioners, questions or discussions for our State
No,
Representative?
but thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Comprehensive, nice and to the point. Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Good stuff. Love the detail. Thanks. Appreciate it. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. Enjoy watching this come to fruition over here.
That's not in the budget. Did you see that in the budget? I thought there was money from the state helping us out there. I didn't see anything. Oh, my God.
I think I was here when we voted on it, though. I feel like somehow I was responsible for helping get
No,
that.
but I think the city of Rockford got some money, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, there we go
Oh,
now.
is that right?
Okay, thank you. Just kidding. All right, well, thank you.
Well,
Thanks for coming in tonight. And
Sure, yeah. And that, let me just touch on that briefly, too. If there is anything that you're looking at as a budget ask for next year, again, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the new process we have at the state level. It's called a LDSI for short, because we got to, have another acronym anytime we can. But if there is something that you're looking at, we will have to sponsor those in a very specific way. And so just making sure we're ahead of the game on that. And given where we are in the budget cycle, that things are turning over so quickly, I'm advising all of my partners and stakeholders, if there is something you're thinking about, please contact my office as soon as possible. So if we can get a bug in the governor's ear early, we probably have a little bit better chance. So if there's anything, on your wish list, certainly reach out and we'll see what we can do to support that.
All right.
All right.
Thank you again much. Thanks for making the time to come in.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, we have roughly about 10 minutes. I will start with our city manager. We'll might as well get commissioner manager comments out of the way here.
I don't think I really have anything new that you haven't already heard about, so I'm good.
All right, Commissioner Burke.
Well, as all of you know, I think I'm commuting to Cincinnati all the time for this new position. And it's just not it's becoming kind of untenable. I really can't dedicate the time I need to this position. We owe more to our city and my constituents in Ward 1. So I'm intending to announce my resignation probably beginning of the year. I'll wait, because you only have a month to find a replacement, so I'll probably wait till like 5 January, so you have a full month. Otherwise, if I do it now, it'd be all through the holidays, it'd just be a mess.
You'll be at some of the December.
Yeah, I'll be here in December, so I'll be here in the 22nd, December 22nd meeting. I was closing on a house last week, but that actually fell through, so we'll probably be local until at least spring, but all my time and energy is going to this mountain I'm trying to move down there, and it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the city, so that's my intention.
It's been a run for 3 years here, so thank you for stepping. Yeah, it is. It'll be for Memorial Day weekend. And those that were not here, don't remember, it happened to be our Memorial Day we had with the Legion, little event out at the Peace, and the good retired captain actually gave the keynote. I just got introduced to you and right front, and we had a little chat afterwards. We had a commissioner open right at that time, and you very willingly applied, and I think we're all the better because of it. So thank you again for the service, and that commute is a grind. So.
Northrop Derby, that's why I did it.
You blame the Hudsonville mayor, exactly.
You know, I'm feeling good about the fire department. I'm feeling good about the master plan path we're on. Those are the two passions I really had. So
Yeah.
I do feel like we're moving on to a better place now. So I'm glad for that.
Awesome, good stuff, thank you. Commissioner Chase?
We had personnel before this meeting, and I think it was a good meeting. Looking forward to the continued search that we have to start to do for city manager. Thank you again, Daryl, for your service to the city all the years, and thank you, Tom, for your service to the city for the years too.
All right, Commissioner Babcock.
Same, thank you to both of you, gentlemen. Question on the joint planning commission master plan meeting that we had. Did they send out the booklets for that or the information that we went over? Because I would love to get Commissioners Burke's.
I know that they were handing them out to PC members when we had it
Okay.
on Wednesday last week.
If you have time.
I'm on a plane next week and the week after, so planes have time.
I'll get him a copy of.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Say
And you wanted that
Emily has
handbook
copies.
that,
Yeah, the binder that they,
yeah, Paula was passing out at the,
Yep,
yep.
just
Hey,
before he leaves, I think it'd be,
Commissioner Burke, see me before we leave tonight. I'll give you mine. You can take with, and then I'll just get a replacement. I've not made any notes.
Those are the stacks that Emily printed off, right?
No, that's the
Oh.
master plan updates. There was when we did the joint thing in here
Oh,
that
yeah.
night, he had a binder.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. I'll give you mine when we leave, and then I'll just get mine replaced, so. Yep, perfect. Commissioner Gilbert.
Sad day. First to say that our city manager leaving is a significant hole that we will have to fill. I look forward to the conversations that will shape the future of the city, but I'm very sad to see Daryl leave. He's been a very steady hand during my time at City Hall and really helped to make sure that the trains have kept running on time, and definitely is going to be a significant impact on all of us and everyone at City Hall to have him leaving us. But on to better and brighter things, a well-deserved retirement, and we wish you all the best. Tom, unfortunately, leaving us is a challenge for me because it is my part of the city that we are going to have the giant void once again. Commissioner Burke's work has always elevated the commission, elevated what we've done here. I really look at all of the commissioners that have joined since Mayor Carey has taken over as mayor, and it's been a pretty impressive group, and I think fair to say Commissioner Burke would be the headliner. So sad to see you go. Obviously you're out doing incredible work, and we commend you on it, but another sore loss here at City Hall. A couple of minor updates. Obviously good personnel meeting. I think we're kind of wrapping our heads around what the process of replacing Daryl's going to look like. And I had a very interesting conversation with some other cities nationally, the National Zip Code Coalition. a very interesting conversation about the challenge as it relates to having zip codes that are not aligned with city boundaries things. This is an issue that some of us that have been around a little longer will remember vividly because there were past elected officials who have definitely owned that. There are active conversations going on around legislation to better align some of these things. A lot of it has passed on a individual case-by-case basis where they have adopted into federal statute individual municipalities. So I am continuing to investigate, have some more conversations on it. I'll connect with others as I start to learn more and what that looks like, but there are some immediate short-term recommended actions that you are to take if this is something that you want to change about how it's impacting your jurisdiction to address some of the afflictions to the residents. So,
Yeah, on that, Steve, I personally think that's kind of a big deal. You drive by some of these little towns that have like a gas station and 2 houses, and they got a post office, and you're like, what gives, man? And the part of our challenge is, how do we get Standale to be a downtown? How do we get an identity? And, when I moved here, I didn't know I lived in Walker. I thought I lived in Grand Rapids. It is a decently important part of your identity, having that zip code. So I think it's worth pushing on if we can.
yeah, and I'll say there is a lot of my neck of the woods. There's a lot, or our neck of the woods rather. There's a lot of confusion with a lot of our vertical or our north and south streets in our part of town ride right down into Grand Rapids, and if you don't have the correct designation, correct zip code, it does just create real confusion. So,
Good stuff. Madam Clerk?
So the November 4th election canvass has been completed, both the state and county level. Walker was selected for one of the audits, so that's this coming Monday morning. The county will be here to audit our precinct number 5. They'll look at everything from pre-testing all the way through, do a hand count of the ballots, check all the applications and everything. So it's open. If anybody wants to see how that process goes, let me know.
Good stuff, thank you. I just, a few things, something that Commissioner Gilbert just said that made me think of this. I might have mentioned this before, but just as a general reminder, this coming year, in the July timeframe, we'll have the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. And you'll start, if you've not already started to see, there'll be a lot more stuff coming out, and I'll say stuff in a broader sense, for America 250. And we will be taking part of that. I think I got volunteered at one of the mayor-manager meetings to work with the city of Grand Rapids and the county as part of a series of events that we're going to do. And I think it's super important. And really, you think back. I mean, we were not. The township was founded not too long after that. Walker was. So. Kind of cool to reflect back on what that history and legacy has been over time. So there was that. Second, I had a great opportunity for the fall conference for Michigan Association of Mayors. We had 37 of us there. I can't remember how many cities there is. There's like 200 cities in Michigan. So we had a good little turnout with the mayors there. I will share the material that's there on, share that out with the group. Some of the presentation materials, a lot of stuff on mayor-manager relationships, which I failed miserably at. You don't need to point that out. Council-manager relationships, First Amendment, right? I mean, just there was a whole myriad of things. Social media was a really interesting session in there as well. So a lot of good stuff. And as you all know, there's a lot of opportunity when we have MML events that there's networking with our peers and so forth that are helpful. So I'll make sure to share that stuff out. I'll echo the personnel committee meeting, good stuff. I'm going to sit down with our city manager tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest, to go through what that plan is and what we're looking at. So there's that. Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank both our outgoing commissioner at some point in the near future and our city manager. It's just been a heck of a run and with both. And I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving too if we don't get to it. So I'm showing 7 o'clock on the nose. And we will call our official city commission meeting for Monday, November 24th, 2025 to order. I'd like to invite Commissioner Burke to deliver invocation and lead us in Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for the many blessings we enjoy this year as the holiday season quickly approaches. Safeguard our city, protect our first responders, and watch over our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. Guide us in charting the course for the future of this city. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
I'd like to invite everybody to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. If I could please ask your clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey.
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert. Present. Commissioner Babcock.
Present.
Commissioner Chase. Present. Commissioner Burke.
All right, next on the list is the approval of excused absences. Wishing Commissioner Groders a continued speedy recovery, and then Commissioner Deschaine safe travels. Can I have a motion and support, please?
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Commissioner Chase, Commissioner Babcock, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? Thank you all. All right, next is the approval of minutes from November 10, 2025. Is there any discussion or questions on said minutes? Seeing, hearing none, I need a motion for approval and support, please.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Support.
Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Babcock, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you. Next, Mike, I saw you walk in back there. You are on. Welcoming Mike Vredeveld back up to the podium for our annual audit review. That should be on, Mike. You double tap that. I think it's still good. Yep, we're good.
Yep, sounds like it's on. Well, first of all, thank you for having us out to do the audit this year. We've been working with you for many years now. We certainly appreciate, that continued relationship. Daryl, congratulations. I just found out you were retiring. That's exciting. So first of all, page 1 of our audit report does have a good, clean audit opinion. It's exactly what you're looking for when you have an audit. We had no issues to report with staff or getting any information like that. No complications. We did have a very brief management letter comment that you'll see in our letter that was to the board, and it was some minor little differences from some long outstanding checks kind of between the tax system and the accounting system. We already spoke to Dan about it, and they got a plan in place to get that taken care of this year. Nothing material. I did want to point out, if you do look at the financial statements on the governmental funds, you will see that there's a new fund this year. I'm sure you're all aware of the library that's going in. You'll see the bond proceeds were recorded this year for that, and then some capital outlay expenditures and a whole lot of cash and pooled investments sitting in that fund as of year end, kind of as you would expect to see. The general fund unassigned fund balance ended at about $16.5 million for the year, and that was an decrease of about $1.3 million. One of the main drivers of that decrease was some transfers out, kind of helping support other funds. There was a big chunk transferred to support the library, things of that nature. We'll get into the slideshow here. If we want to keep going through that, I'm not sure who's got the clicker on there. Oh, I got the clicker. How about that? All right, so this first slide here, very simple, just kind of shows expenses and program revenues for governmental activities. So program revenues are not going to be your property taxes and state shared. So you'll see, the expenses for public safety, for example, are up there, but you'll see very little green there, and that kind of means that that's supported on, tax dollars, things like that. Fairly consistent with what we see in prior years in other cities. So this is the revenue by type, governmental activities, and it just kind of shows where a bulk of your revenue is coming from. This year was a very significant year with capital grants, with all the road projects. That's kind of where we see a lot of those capital grants come from. Most of those are through the state or sometimes the federal government too. General fund revenues, this kind of shows that over the past few years. So they have been, kind of steadily increasing, fairly consistent with what we've seen at other cities as well. Income taxes had some pretty major rises during that, COVID time with all the wage inflation that we saw, and then people kind of changing locations, whether they're working from home or back in office, kind of however that worked. This is just a little detail of how income tax revenues have shifted over the years. So you can kind of see it's been rising. It has kind of plateaued a little bit, which is to be expected after that big jump. Property tax revenues, again, with all the development going on in the city and everything like that, continuing to increase, and then inflation increases every year as well. So this is expenditures by function to kind of show where you're spending most of the money. So you'll see a huge chunk of that's public safety, it's your fire and your police. That is quite a bit up this year. I had a note and it didn't save on my iPad about why that was, and I cannot think of it. But those were up, about $1 million or so. And then the transfer out, those are up because of that big transfer over to the library this year. So this is a general fund unassigned fund balance is a percentage of the expenditures and transfers, is a really kind of good way to be able to kind of see how you're doing on an annual basis, just to see, whether you're making money, losing money, and kind of where your spending's at. So you'll see you've been relatively flat over the past few years, and that's good. It's a good healthy amount. You don't really want to go below 15 or 20, and you're not so high, that you're just kind of saving, all the funds and not spending them on the projects that you should be. Other than that, that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions if there was anything specific on the financials or anything like that.
The police and fire chief are delighted you can't think of your note on public safety.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm sure Dan has an answer for you.
He's running for the door right now.
Can you just let us know where we are with the OPEB and the retirement?
Yes, yep. Let me open that a minute. I don't have it in my slideshow.
I think that's something maybe for next year is that's something.
Add a
we're
slide on that?
Very
Yeah,
interested, all of
absolutely.
us
It's
are
a big
in, and
thing.
just making sure we're on top of that.
Yeah, I saw, the pension was at like 86%,
Yeah,
but the
that's-
OPEB liability, we're still, 45-ish,
Yeah.
but the assumptions on those are crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
OPEB's gonna be ugly this
OPEB's
coming year.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's something outside the city are really important and
Yeah.
want to know about.
Because we made it such a priority to pay
Yes,
that, and
and-
that's going
yeah.
back a long time.
Yep.
Piece. That would be a nice slide in there.
Yeah.
And I think on that point, I'm glad you brought that up, because our senator brought this up the other day to me in discussion. We were talking about the, this coming year, just like the OPEB is gonna be, that's gonna hurt, just because of the way healthcare costs have increased. And, there's gonna be a lot of volatility, I think, that in 2026, when we're looking back at this.
Yep, we're showing the OPEB plan is about 49% funded at the end of the year, and then pension is 84.4.
Yep. So, did you have something else on that? Okay.
No, just, we need to catch up to our friends at the Rapid.
Yes. All right. Any questions or discussion for Mike, Mr. City Manager?
No, Mike, maybe if you could go back to your very first slide for that revenue, because when you look at the public works, and it's like $30 million, a lot, 25 of that was for the Fruit Ridge Bridge grant, that one right there, for public works, for program revenues. When you look at that, the first thing I notice, I'm like, what the heck? And it's like, oh yeah, that's 25 of that
Right.
million is from the grant we received for Fruit
Yep.
Bridge.
Yeah,
Fruit
yep.
Ridge, so.
Yeah, and Daryl, for our part, that money's just in and out, right?
Yes, yep. We did generate some good interest.
I was saying
on
it came
but we
in,
did.
they had it set up for a little while, so, yeah.
That always helps.
All right, any questions or other discussion for Mike? Job well done again, thank you very much.
Right, yep.
Nice
thank
and
you.
easy, so thank you, it's good. One small thing, next year, for some of us that are trying to go, if you feel like there's any, and I don't know if there's correlation between maybe some of the slides or if there's pages in the audit that might, if there's like corresponding pages,
Yeah.
if that helps there so we can more accurately follow around. I thought you saw you reaching, was that, I thought you were reaching for something, okay. Okay. Outside of that, no, great job, thank you, very clear and concise. Is there any, this coming year, I haven't heard anything, but this is your world of any pending GASB changes or anything that we should be aware of?
There's going to be some changes to the MD&A. That's that first little kind of summary section. They just want a little more detail on kind of why things changed. And then the other part of that standard is with the budget and actual statements, they're going to require us to show the variance not only from the amended budget to the actual, but from the original budget to the amended budget. So a few of the statements will look a little bit different, but nothing super impactful that's going to really change much of the accounting.
So is that, do you know that when they're going to be asking those why questions, are they looking for more objective-based measurements or is it subject? Don't know yet? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, cool, thank you much. Dan, anything from your role? All right. Just happy. Another deep sigh of relief, the annual one. All right, good. Thank you both, appreciate all the work you did on this, and thanks, Mike, for coming in, good seeing you.
Yep, thank you.
All right. All right, next on the list is public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Okay, seeing, hearing none. On the consent agenda, we have expenditures in the amount of $1,038,825.46. Is there any question on the bills? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
So moved.
I'll make a motion, I'll support.
Commissioner Gilbert and Commissioner Chase. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Next on the list is deer management study. I did, you have in your packets a summary of the deer management study finally. I think the intent, when we started out, or was it 3 years ago, I think, at one of our monthly luncheons, maybe being generous at the time there. We had talked that the cities initially had said we were really starting to get hammered at that point, and we were talking about looking at culling of the herd, which we have done in the past in Walker before. Obviously, we have a very significant problem, within the city as a result of that. So that being said, mayors and managers in our monthly meeting were talking about it, and the 6 cities agreed to all do something, and at some point we got into doing a study, and then this really morphed into involving the county road commission, who picks up all of the dead deer. So finally the culmination of here where we are. I did have to miss the managers lunch meeting today, but I did get have a quick discussion with our director of the county road commission this morning. Apparently there's a plan, they're looking for a city to be a test pilot for a expedited program to look at a deer management program within the city. Why I had asked our clerk after speaking to the city manager about putting this on the agenda tonight was to talk and have some discussion around this. Kent County is obviously has the highest rate of car deer crashes within the state. The city of Walker has the highest rate within Kent County. So it makes sense for us to look at something like this. We still, with all of our natural green space, with all the parks and so forth, I mean, we're getting hammered, and had talked with Jerry Byrne this morning about this, and I felt that based on conversations in the past with the commission up here, that there would be a desire to look at maybe being a part of that pilot program and having an expedited, working with the USDA, I think would probably be the course they're going. So I don't know, to our city manager, if there was anything further discussed today beyond that.
No, today's meeting was just a, discussion of the report and everything that went into it as a countywide initiative. And, it's better to all work together than one, because the deer don't know the boundaries. It's a regional problem. It's not a city of Walker problem, per se, although we have the most hits in the city. So it just centered around that, and then how do we move forward? So I know there were a lot of different options out there and timeframes and doing additional studies and bringing USDA, but there's still a lot of variables out there with some of the communities who would participate. How do you participate? But they would like to, I think, pursue some type of a pilot program and really dig into, you know, some of our ordinances, our regulations, to make sure they allow and align with what the study's recommendations are. So I think if you want us to go down that route, down that path, I think that's a good way to go to proceed, to in fact be that test, you know, community.
So commissioners, now's that time to have the discussion around this. Commissioner Gilbert.
I would like us to get proceeding, if we're gonna stay within the recommendations, as quickly as possible. So that would be to say yes. If we can be a part of the pilot, that would be tremendous. I have been getting resident complaints about this stuff for like years now. And we elected to join the study, be a part of the process with the county. I can appreciate it, but it is it very much is like this very slow, deliberative process to a very immediate problem that people are continuing to recurringly reach out to me about. So the sooner we can get rolling on this, the better. I think that if we can show some tangible movement, it would be a big sigh of relief for a lot of people that I know I represent, and I'm sure all of you do too. The sooner the better would be my recommendation, because if we waited for the study and now we have the results of the study, I don't see any value in waiting for implementation.
So noted. Right.
I agree with him completely. We have a lot of deer in our backyard that, and we get complaints from our neighborhood all the time about them eating their plants and just causing ruckus. So I guess my question is, if we opt into this pilot program, do they work with us then on what we choose we want to do, or are they in control of how and when?
So I think, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I just think it depends on which direction. The long-range plan, I think, or discussion is hiring people from the USDA to kind of manage the program countywide. And that's a costly endeavor, but it's countywide and there's science behind it. I mean, it's not just the eating plants. The majority of this is car deer accidents and the safety factor. So, you know, there's things in there from the insurance companies. There's things in there from, you know, the road commissions. Can you spend Act 51 money to help it because it's a safety concern on the roadway? So there's a lot of different tentacles out there. So I don't have an exact answer of what the pilot will entail, but I think it's worth a discussion of all these things and what can we do. But each community is going to be individual. So what do our ordinances say about, you know, discharge of firearms we don't permit, but we allow bow hunting under certain circumstances? Are there property owners that would be willing to have people hunt on their property? I think those are all kind of things that we have a lot of large property owners, and you know, that might be an avenue for us to pursue that might help. So I think it's all those things. So.
Okay. So it could essentially be beneficial for us to just have an outside set, like we would have more hands-on, one-on-one opportunities with the people running the program. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Potentially,
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things that Jerry had suggested this morning was having I think first week of December, we tentatively penciled something in for later in the week for a sit down with police chief, city manager, myself on behalf of us, and county road commission. Just as a, you know, tight group, might involve our public services, you know, as well, but that tight group of what's the direction from the commission. I mean, I want to say we're going to be a part of the, we would be the test pilot, that's the intent with this. But I think there's a sense of urgency we've all had for probably years now. But we're here. I'm not going to focus on what's behind us. We're here. If there's that unanimous consent is to get it done, let's get it done. I really, honest to gosh, and we've talked about this before, the public feedback you get is, can you guys move quicker? It's not, no, don't do it. And there might be a couple of, you know, folks out there that have a different viewpoint, but I think we've acknowledged we have a significant issue within our city that is impacted us on a number of fronts, and we need to address it, and it is a part of life and nature. So that being said, the intent is that first week of December that we would have a discussion with those to make sure we're in alignment with what the plan is. There probably will be some type of cost. I don't think we have our arms around what that looks like yet, because we'll be using somebody else, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But there'll be some things that come back about, right now, we had some stuff coming up right before opening day with some deer blinds, on city property or too close to a house. The limits, I think it's 400 feet. I can't remember roughly 500 feet, 500 feet from a house, and you had a deer blind about 150 feet from a house. So that's a little bit of a problem, but maybe we can work with the city stuff, potentially, as long as we know there's a plan in place to, people aren't just going kittywampus out there of doing what they want, where they want. It's very, organized, I guess, in that point, the plan. So, all right, good feedback over here. Commissioner Chase? Good. Commissioner Burke? And I know where our city manager stands, so we're in alignment. So we'll get that meeting scheduled then, and then let the group know from there what we're planning on. So thank you for the candor discussion. So, all right. Next is other public comment on agenda items, non-agenda items. Anything? All right. You come on up if you just state your name for the record, if you're a resident, just the neighborhood you're in, and we've got a little time here, so we'll work with you.
I'm not even sure this is the right forum, but I'm
Okay.
going to start here because you guys handle the money. Okay. My name's Michael Pergel. I live at 4036 Evansdale, here in Walker. In fact, you're my back fence neighbor here. Literally, I am just a couple hundred yards away. So, first off, I want to thank you for any part you played in the new Fruit Ridge Bridge. Have been an avid cyclist most of my life, and this is incredible. Okay, so far easier than driving over to Irwin, or as I have in the past, ridden my bike over that bridge, that old bridge. Okay, so that's great. I appreciate the effort and expense that goes into maintaining all this city property. They do a wonderful job. They're an excellent neighbor. And this is, my suggestion is pretty much purely on my behalf, but I'd like to suggest that the city acquire the property at 2205 Kinney, which runs from Kinney through the property all the way to the city park. This property was subdivided last year from a larger parcel and a small house, and a smaller parcel was carved out of it. It is adjacent to mine, and we have an easement for Evansdale through my property and the others to get to Kinney. I think of public access using this property at 2205 Kinney, connecting Kinney Avenue to the Walker City Park would be a good idea for a number of reasons. It would provide with a path, basically a paved path, cleaned up in there, and some drainage. It would provide additional pedestrian and bicyclist access to the Walker City Park. Currently, pedestrians from the Kinview neighborhood, which is a couple hundred homes over there, can only enter up through the Waldorf entrance or going down to Remembrance and coming up that way. It's quite a diversion if they want to get to the city park. I have no idea if it'd be a popular idea, but I always like a direct path. In addition, there's a long-standing problem with the property the city has probably been aware of. It has caused conflicts with some of the neighbors there, and that it is soaking wet and has very poor drainage and no infrastructure to handle it. It simply collects several times a year 3 or 4 inches of water on the sidewalk at the Kinney level. For some reason, water collects in this, it's a bog back there. It does drain onto my property, the rearmost section does. But I manage that part well enough. However, it drains and soaks in and heaves the apron, my apron, and soaks in and freezes and heaves the apron several inches during the winter. Okay. I think a crosswalk at this point, across Kinney, from this new public area would also serve as pedestrian access, but it would also serve as a traffic calming, which I believe all the residents would appreciate. And that's kind of about it. The entire property, both lots, sold for $227,000. I was very tempted, but I just can't tie that up for. Well, the expense for the water abatement and everything, and building a road in there is beyond my means, beyond my interest. But it was subdivided, and the house was sold for $300,000. So the Dulce Groups is the current owner, and I don't know what he has in mind. I personally have no objection if he's going to build a house back there, but there's, again, serious water problems that are going to have to be addressed. He may not want to do that, and I think this would be a great, not a great improvement. It would be an improvement to the city. Would it benefit me? I don't know. I don't mind having pedestrians by the house. It's very private back there so far. I haven't discussed this at length with the neighbors, but I think we'd all be pretty much in accord that this would be a optimal solution. I guess what we're afraid of is if they ever consider rezoning to multifamily in the worst case. It's a very large piece of property, and to put a road and everything in back there is going to be an expensive proposition, and I just don't see what the plan is for the developer. So currently, we kind of take care of it. The owner does minimal mowing. There's also a utility easement right along our border. So we keep that clean. Myself and the neighbors have always had very cooperative arrangement to handle snow, the mowing, the cutback, keeping the overhead lines clear and everything. So that's it. I think it would be a great addition to a city property, and I'd appreciate your consideration on the matter.
Mr. Bergdale, if you do me a favor, would you, when you're on the internet next, would you go to have you been to the city website?
Yes.
Would you grab somewhere in there, whether that's my bio page or somewhere else, my email and phone number, cell phone number in there? Sure. Would you at minimum send me an email so I have a way to contact you?
Absolutely.
And then we don't have to put it out here on the public record thing, but send me a message. I'll actually talk with our city manager and just look at the feasibility. Commissioner Chase had pulled up the visual. I'm not living far from there, I recognize. And there's a water, the water tables have always been a bit high back there, so.
Right. I talked to Scott Connor briefly. He referred me, I don't know if it was to Planning Commission or to the City Commission. I thought I'd show up here.
Oh, appreciate it. Oh, thank you. And we are looking for those opportunities sometimes through like the DNR Trust Fund. Sometimes there's grant resources available to help with those types of things. But again, not knowing because it's privately owned right now.
Right.
What is their vision for it? I think that divide just took place in the last year or so.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I will own the follow up with you on behalf of the commission, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Yeah, give me, let's get through the holiday weekend here, and
Yeah, yeah.
we'll plan on talking into next week.
All right.
All right, thank you for
very
coming in
much.
this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, the other three in the room are not allowed for public comment, so we'll bypass them. In all seriousness, Mr. Treasurer, Fire Chief, Police Chief, anything, guys? All right, one last time around, Madam Clerk, Commissioner, Doctor, Mr. City Manager.
Just a reminder, Scott, I think sent out an email, but prior to the next meeting on December 8th, 4 o'clock at the library tour.
Yes, and I would say too, from a footwear attire, not to, it still's a little mucky stuff back there, so.
No
we won't-
heels.
No heels, yeah, we won't judge. So, all right, if we have nothing else for the good of the order, I'll take a motion and support to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion.
Chase, Commissioner Burke, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, we stand adjourned. Thank you.